Week one of the NFL season is in the books, and we're here to recap it all on the Patriots podcast. I'm Sean here with Ryan and JJ.
Hello.
What's up?
So week one is all wrapped up. Patriots lose to the Eagles 25-20.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of what we all expected, right in that range, given our score predictions. But the way this played out is making us feel a lot different. You know, we're coming out of a Sunday where Tom Brady is honored and all the emotion that go along with that. Speaking honestly, I was more interested in that at the start of the game. I was like, I just need to see Brady. I need to see him at Gillette Stadium.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we could touch on that in a bit. But then the Patriots go out and have a really solid showing, despite a lot of mistakes, but a really solid showing against a great football team. I mean, I think we got to start with the defense. JJ, what was your takeaway from what the defense put together?
Yeah, I mean, physicality. They went out there, I want to say the whole second half, I don't know what was going on with Jalen Hurts. I don't know how much of it was Eagles being unprepared versus Patriots being that good on defense, but he just didn't look like he wanted to be there anymore. Keep getting hit. I mean, they were taking it to him. Jabril Peppers with the hit on the end to force the fumble kind of summed up how I felt about them. I mean, you thought that was going to get them back in the game. There's a few moments there that we'll get into that we thought they had it. But the defensive line was taking it to that offensive line being one of the better ones in the league, if not the best, as we talked about pregame. Rookies all over the place, offense and defense, making a big impact. Christian Gonzalez, he had his moments where, he's on A.J. Brown. I mean, you could argue he's top 3 receiver, going to be the top receiver soon enough. I mean, the guy's a physical specimen, as we mentioned last week. Christian Gonzalez held up against him. He really didn't let him get a lot of extra yardage. A lot of people were worried about his physicality. He was tackling well. He had a great sack. I know it was dialed up. But I mean, he came in flying. He came in so fast they couldn't react to it. He took Jalen Hurts right down. No issue with that, which we've seen I don't know how many times in the past we've seen blitzing cornerbacks not be able to take the quarterback down. That's one of the issues with that play.
Plus the 4th and 2 that he broke up at the end.
4th and 2, great play. Dives in there, makes play on that. Linebackers, I thought Bentley played really good against the run overall, which was nice to see. And, Barmore was getting pressures consistently up the middle against one-on-ones. He didn't really show up too highly on the stat sheet, but he was putting pressure in, he was getting in Hurts' face. They were making him roll out left or right. And then, the biggest thing, he was only on the field for like a third of the plays, was White. Keon White, man. That dude is going to be, Dietrich Wise is, if he keeps jumping off, he had that jump off sides early. He was lined up. It was like a 3rd down. We made the play. He lined up in the neutral zone, giving them a 1st down, even though we should have stopped him. So if he keeps doing stuff like that, Keon White's going to get more and more time. There was one play me and Ryan were texting about after the game where Keon White bull rushes the left tackle into Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts runs around. Keon White gets off the tackle, sprints to the sideline, forcing Jalen Hurts to throw it away. Not a play that shows up on the stat sheet at all, but broken play. It was a throwaway, had to be, or he was about to get pummeled. And the left tackle, if you watch him in that replay, because I've seen it a few times on Twitter or whatnot, the left tackle, after he gets bull rushed and sees Keon White go for a dead sprint and get his quarterback, he's just shaking his head like, what the hell am I supposed to do against this? Like, I don't know how to defend this. So that was really intriguing. Judon had a great game. So, I mean, and Uche had a sack. He didn't really show up as much as I thought. I didn't notice him as much in the game. But, he
didn't play that much.
He didn't
only
play
played
that
30% of the snaps.
Yeah, it seemed like they were rotating guys a lot. The only people that really got a lot of time was like Judon, Bentley, our safeties. I love our safeties with Duggar. Hopefully we'll see how they do against next week.
Peppers is a human missile.
Really well.
Dude, he's really well. Steve back there. And I was really excited to see that it's him and Duggar, as opposed to, Adrian Phillips. They're bringing in more to spell them. And same, Jalen Mills didn't get a lot of time. I don't know what that was about, but It's nice to see that it's Duggar and Peppers. Peppers was a great player, got an injury, and it seems like he is back to previous injury form where he's flying all over the field. He was always seemed to be in the right position, rarely out of place. And, there was a team that could get deep on you, and they really didn't. Every time he threw it deep, it was double or triple covered, and the safety was right on it, which is the thing we worried about. Now it's going to get tested to the nth degree next week, which we'll get into. But that was all super promising stuff. I don't know. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, the defense is one thing. I thought the defense played fantastic against a really good offense. The first quarter was brutal. I mean, a lot of mistakes. Not so much that we were playing poorly at all. We were just making huge mistakes. The ball through Bourne's hands goes for a pick six, and then we come back. I think it's the very next play. We get the ball. Zeke grabs a one-handed screen pass and then fumbles it. And then right off the bat, it's 10-0 on those plays. But I think they scored again. 16-0 in very short order. I love that the team didn't quit. And what I saw from the offense was a functional offense that had a good plan. You look at I looked at the injury report before the game, and I saw Onwenu and Strange out, and I thought, oh, we're fucked here. I mean, Jalen Carter, Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, was Josh Sweat. It's just so many guys on that defensive line that can give you problems. Hassan Reddick blitzing as an edge rusher. That was my main concern, and the offense played extremely well, other than some big mistakes. You want to put that on Mac Jones for the high throw on Bourne. Fine. That was his one big mistake of the game. I thought he was fantastic. I think he leads the league in a lot of categories. He threw a ton of passes, but I guess those two guards being out really hurt our run game. Ramondre coming off of sickness did not look good. I think if we had both those guards and Ramondre at full strength, then maybe the game turns out differently. We're going to probably touch on the two field goal attempts that, I guess you couldn't go for it the second time because you needed a touchdown. But if you had taken the first one, you win by 1 point. So without going too in depth on the defense, I really like the way the offense played. Some of the RPOs that Bill O'Brien's instated actually faked me out. I didn't know who had the ball. I can't remember the last time I didn't know who had the ball on the Patriots team. It's been 3-4 years at least. So the way that the scheme that O'Brien has them playing, to me, spreading the ball around, quick throws to hide some inexperienced guards, because the guards actually had horrible grades in this game by PFF.
But it didn't really show up. I mean, Mac did a good job of getting rid of the ball. It wasn't like in your face terrible.
Right.
Yeah. His pocket movement is far superior to Jalen Hurts. And I know that might be going out on a limb, but inside the pocket movement, still throwing it.
Yeah. Sidney Sal had a 28.8 on offense, and Antonio Mafi had a 38.5 on offense, according to PFF.
And Anderson didn't have a good grade either, did he?
He had a 56.7. Yeah, I'll take 56.7. The other two are ridiculously bad. You look at the hurries they allowed between those three players. Anderson and Sal.
Is a 50% supposed to be average?
I think you want 60% to be average.
Yeah.
Or, around that number. But between the three of those players, they allowed 17 pass rushes and 13 hurries. You didn't notice it when you were watching the game because the ball was out so quickly.
54 dropbacks, 54 attempts.
Yeah, and it was a plan, and it looked like Mac Jones knew who was checked down where in those situations. It looked like he knew where the open guy was going to be, so.
And the number of throws to the running backs. I mean, Ramondre had 6 catches. Zeke had 5 catches on 7 targets. Montgomery had a couple catches. Billy O was scheming it up to get the ball out of his hands pretty quickly.
Yeah, it was scheme, though. It wasn't like panic, where it was last year.
Last year, like a real offense again. It's like a year since we've seen a real offense. Defensively, too, Jalen Hurts had a bad game. There were definitely plays where he missed open guys. I know, Dallas Goedert, I don't think got a look. And there was one or two replays. I remember, I think Romo pointed out, like, oh, look at Goddard on that play. And there's nobody around him within 10 yards. So, I kept hearing since the game now, I've heard a lot, well, it's their first time off offensive and defensive coordinator. You got to give them some slack. And it's like, well, it's our first time offensive coordinator too. Mm-hmm. And we looked significantly improved. As you were saying, Rye, I can't remember the last time we drove down and scored within minutes. Like, it looked easy to score. Now, yes, there were plenty of drives where we went 3 and out. We kind of didn't get things going. And, things didn't end up in points. A lot of the late game decisions, stuff like that, fourth quarter decisions. But, like, just being able to go down and make, like, a few big plays and score is
in short order. Yeah,
is like shocking to see. It's like, it's hard to remember back to last year, but last year we played the Dolphins and it felt like every single yard was difficult to get. It was almost painstakingly impossible to get a first down in that game. And we built on it, and the offense became maybe somewhat functionable. So, it's something to build on, as we always talked about. Last year was a huge point of what we talked about. So you have to build on things. You need things that you can look at. Okay, this has worked for us. This worked for us. Let's keep hitting that. There was a lot of things I think they did, despite all their mistakes, that it's like, oh, wow, that worked. Oh, that worked too. Look at them. That worked too. All right, that thing didn't work, but, like, that's not a big deal. They have this, mm-hmm. this, and this that they can all go to. And, we don't even, Bourne played well. Juju Smith-Schuster really didn't do much.
No,
the rookies.
Other than that, like, 15-yard crossing route, he was.
Yeah, I mean, he really didn't. So it's like you don't really have any huge talent. I thought Henry and Gesicki played well.
Yep.
I think
Demario Douglas got a couple touches. I'd like to see them more. Expand that.
I thought he did great.
That, yeah.
4 catches for 40 yards. I mean, he's a rookie receiver that catches the ball and gets open. It's like, holy shit, we haven't seen that. I don't know if we've ever seen that. 20 years.
Yeah, and it's going to open up when Devontae Parker's in the game too, because Butte played I think he played like 55 snaps.
Which is shocking. Wasn't that a little surprising?
Well, I was surprised, but I'm pretty sure they just had him playing Devontae Parker's position to keep everybody else in their normal position.
Okay.
Yeah. So he really wasn't a threat out there. Not to say he won't become one, but Devontae Parker is going to be a better player when you fit him in there.
I mean, he makes that catch in the end and gets 2 feet down.
All of Butte's looks, I think he had 4 targets and 0 catches. Almost all of them, I think, were sideline looks.
And so that's one of my takeaways was Mac Jones' arm strength. It's always going to be a problem. It's always a limitation for him, but I thought it really showed up. Like, those sideline throws, they were pretty accurate throws, but he's got to throw them so far towards the sideline because it takes a long time for his arm to get it there. We saw it on, I think it was 4th and 17. He tries to get it out to Hunter Henry. It winds up at his ankles. Yeah. Not to say he was going to get that first down, but it was just like, there were a couple of plays where we were like, God, I really wish he doesn't have to have a Mahomes arm, but if he had an average arm strength NFL arm, like even Brock Purdy's got a stronger arm. I mean, if he had a Jordan Love style arm, something like that would be nice to have. It's always going to be one of his limitations.
I think that 5 yards from each sideline is his bread and butter, and it's always going to be that way. You saw, I mean, there's good corners over there. Darius Slay is no joke. Bradbury is no joke. Safeties are okay. They're pretty good over there, but they get a good pass rush. So, that play to Kendrick Bourne where he cut inside on Bradbury and caught the deep touchdown, that was awesome.
That was great.
Just really good feel for the game, and really good connection there between him and Mac Jones. You touched on the 2-minute drive. It was 1 minute and 56 seconds. I want to say 6 or 7 plays. We had an incompletion to start, and then it was just like gangbusters. We came on, and I mean, short left to Ramondre. You got the 32-yarder. That was his best play of the game by far.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then Douglas, deep middle, 16 yards. short middle to Ramondre for another 11, and then the touchdown to Kendrick Bourne for 11. Like, where has that been the last couple of years?
It looked easy.
That was never going to happen last year.
No.
So this is a breath of fresh air. And then, by the way, we talk about not kicking the field goal, but if Calvin Anderson doesn't commit that penalty on the 2-point conversion, we're down by 3. And we get the ball again. We could have kicked the field goal, sent it over to overtime. So,
those critical penalties, the holding penalty is brutal. The Hunter Henry one was total phantom. That wasn't real. The one after it was a real hold.
Yeah.
And then the 2-pointer was a hold. I don't think it affected the play, but it was a hold. But then we got to touch on these fourth down attempts. So they go for it on 4th and 8. So they're down 8 points with I want to say 8 minutes to go, something like that. They go for it on 4th and 8. Hunter Henry makes an unbelievable one-handed catch, highlight reel catch. Mm-hmm. They keep going. Now we're at 4th and 3 from the Philly 17 with 9.5 minutes to go in an 8-point game.
I would have kicked it. I don't know.
I would have kicked it the first time.
The first time would have been
a 51.
Let me see.
I think it was
51. 50. It would have been a 54-yarder, which is going to be tough. That's the rookie's first kick ever.
I know, but it's
if you're at the 17-yard,
the 4th round.
If you're at the 17-yard line, that's basically an extra point.
But that's why you have him, not Folk. That's why you picked him over Folk to kick those. So now, 4th and 8 is a tough spot to go for it, And then you give Philly the ball there.
They converted the 4th and 8.
Yeah, I don't understand the second 4th down too. It's statistically, I don't know what it is in the NFL these days, especially all weekend, and we'll get into it more. There were so many times where teams went for it on 4th down, and I was like, "What's going on? Am I missing something?" Like the Bengals went for it on 4th and 17 with 10 minutes left, and effectively lost themselves the game on that play going for it. So
they were already losing that game.
They were already losing, but then they pulled the starters after that because they're like, we have no chance. But I don't know.
Well, the Patriots went for it on 4th and 17 also from midfield. And they took a delay of game. They were going for it on 4th and 12, take a delay of game. And I'm like, all right, fine. Finally, they're going to decide to punt because the defense was playing so well on that short field. When the Eagles were backed up, they couldn't do anything. And then he still decides to go for it on 4th and 17. I'm like, what are you doing here?
I don't know. I mean, maybe you punt there. I would have punted there.
Phillies, you can't. It'd be a 70-yard field goal. I would have definitely.
Phillies 48,
I just wanted him to punt.
You had all 3 timeouts. You're at Phillies 48. Pin them back deep. Take 3 field goals or take 3 timeouts, and then
plus a 2-minute warning. You were at 2:17 when they went for it on 4th down.
There were 3 of all those 4th down decisions I disagreed with, but I'm looking at the game.
I didn't really like any of them, but the 4th and 3 was the biggest because it's just this is a chip shot. If you're worried about this kid's leg or whatever, it's this is easy 3 points. The game is not that out of hand yet. It's not like you're getting blown out. You need to get 3 scores. It's you're down by a touchdown, and if it would have set you up nicely. Yes, the 2-point conversion would have set you up nicely, but the 3, if you kick the field goal there, it really kind of took the heat off the 2-point conversion. I didn't get it. I still don't get it. I hope Bill Belichick learns his lesson because I really thought they were going to win that game. The whole second half of that, I thought we were going to win. I was like,
not even second half. The second, third, and 4th quarter, we were honestly
outplayed them significantly.
Outplaying them.
We kicked their ass. We kicked their ass all up, and we were much more physical. We were much more prepared. It looked like we wanted to be out there more. People are saying, "Oh, the Eagles just showed up to, because they thought this was going to be a cakewalk." This is fucking week 1. Nobody's showing up to the game thinking it's a cakewalk. People. I heard a couple people on the radio comparing it to that's the way the Bills played you last year. It's the Bills were trying to get healthy for a playoff run. This is a completely different scenario. This is who shows up and who doesn't show up. I don't think the Eagles showed up. I don't think it's because they didn't want to or, they were taking this game lightly. They got lucky as shit that they had a pick 6 to start the game, and immediately we fumbled the ball next play at the 20. If if one of those plays didn't happen, we would have won. They both did, and we still almost won. and I thought we had our opportunities to win it. You know, we could have kicked there. I also thought I didn't like the play calling coming out of the second half. We had just scored on 2-minute offense, really fast. Everything looked super easy, and then we come back out in the second half. I wanted to just see him continue it. Go keep up with the hurry up. Catch him off guard. They don't seem to be able to do it. They can't do their substitutions, whatever it is. Keep up with it. And what we do, we did 2 runs up the middle that hadn't worked all day, and then we didn't get it on third down. I would have liked to see him push the gas right there and score, but
obviously you want to see him score.
I know, but it was like they were like, oh, whatever. You know, it's like they came out in the second half.
They anticipated Philly making an adjustment, and so they made a pre-adjustment.
Right.
And they're like, okay, you're gonna adjust to our hurry up, so we're gonna do something different. And then they went back to the hurry up in the fourth quarter, and it was working. A couple other things. Go ahead, Rob.
You guys touched on the defense. You mentioned a lot of good players. I thought Christian Barmore, on his return here from injury last year, was fantastic. I thought he was arguably the best player. He was getting pushed every time. He had four hurries in the game. Only ended up with 4 tackles or 1 tackle. But I mean, he was really causing trouble for them in the interior of that offensive line. He was getting a good push every time. Yeah. He had the best grade on the team, actually.
Yeah, he did.
Maybe on both sides of the ball, I don't know. But on defense, certainly 84.1, 86.4 on rush defense. So, you know, we always kind of looked at him as like a defensive tackle pass rusher. To be that good on rush is a really good sign for us going forward.
I mean, dude, when you see him, Keon White, Judon, and Uche in there, it's like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Good luck.
It's going to be ferocious.
And that's a good offensive line that we faced, as I said. The only player on the defensive line, and really the defense that I thought had a bad game, I don't know what his PFF rating was. What's his name?
What's his name?
Godchaw. Godchaw D tackle.
50.3.
There you go. Okay,
him and Wise were the worst by far.
There were so many plays where he is 5-6 yards downfield, and it's like, what are you doing down there? You're the guy. You're the guy that is clogging up the middle. Like, you're the Vince Wilfork of this defense. Now, he's not by any means as talented as Vince Wilfork, but like, you never saw Vince Wilfork far down the field unless he was supposed to, and he gets pushed around too much. I don't know what it is. Bill really likes him. Maybe he just had a bad game, but I feel like this is a continuation of last year where we put a lot on him and he just doesn't rise to the occasion. I mean, he's an absolute massive dude, but he gets pushed around there. So, you know, that would be my one big thing. But
yeah, a couple other things to touch on quickly for new players. I thought the punting was already much better. We had uncorked a 60-yarder. They did return that pretty significantly, but I mean, just to have some power in the punting game is huge. And then I thought Zeke was really good. I thought Zeke looks like he's in great shape. He's got some juice in his legs.
Besides the fumble, I thought he looked quick. He was decisive with his reads. He was finding space. I thought he was pretty good. I was impressed.
Yeah, you can see the natural feel for the game too. The Eagles. Why are they going with Kenneth Gainwell? They have Rashad Penny and who's the other guy they picked up?
Penny was a healthy scratch.
DeAndre Swift.
DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny, and you're playing Kenneth Gainwell. Why'd you sign those guys?
1 carry.
Yeah, I don't know.
You were right. You called it.
Yeah.
You're like, what has he done? He's done nothing. And they've had him all offseason. It's not like he's like a new player that just got there. Like, he was there for all training camp. He got 1 carry for 3 yards. They ran Boston Scott as much.
I mean,
what?
I thought Gainwell was pretty decent, especially in the first quarter. He was good, but like,
yeah, that was good.
You sign those other guys. Like, do you not like them? Like, why'd you sign him? You know,
Gainwell seemed like their starter, which is shocking.
They traded for Swift.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, they had a tough day at the office. I thought one of my big takeaways is that we were able to our defense was able to handle a mobile quarterback, which is the total Achilles heel last year. Sorry to say Achilles. We'll talk about Aaron Rodgers in a little bit.
Ooh.
I know. But all in all, you got to be feeling great about this team coming out. It's as good as you could feel coming out of a loss where you feel like you outplayed one of the best teams in the NFL. And it was really, I mean, we made a ton of mistakes, and that's why we ended up losing. But it wasn't because we have a lack of talent or poor coaching or any of those things. It's just physical mistakes that we made. And to do it all on Tom Brady Day. Tom Brady Appreciation Day. Robert Kraft announces he's going into the Patriots Hall of Fame next year. No need for a fan vote. No need to wait the extra years for his eligibility. Just screw it. We're putting him right in. And the fact that he put on the jersey and ran down the field, got goosebumps. I was so psyched.
I fucking love it. And the fact that we, instead of being down 16-0 going to halftime, or even worse, we were 16-14, had the momentum, feeling good going into that halftime show. Like, I don't want to be down 26-0 and have Brady come here.
Did you guys see the broadcast? Did they broadcast the halftime show?
I watched it on Patriots.com or
Patriots.
Yeah, I listened to it on the radio. They didn't. I was surprised they didn't show up, but it must be a contractual thing. I mean, I gotta say, I can't imagine. As we were watching it and we were texting each other, I don't think that you could have had a worse start to a worst first quarter start to your season. It's like, I feel it's like the pick six happens. You're like, okay, that was bad. You can come back for that. Then it's the fumble. They immediately score, and it's like, oh my God, is this the year we're gonna have again? So, like you said, Rye, just the fight they had to, stay. I mean, you're down 16-0. It's plenty of football left, but look what happened to the Giants. Very similar story happened to the Giants, and that went the other way, where they didn't fight back and they went down. It ended up being an absolute blowout. They looked like the worst team in the league. Pats could have easily cowered and been like, "We don't got this. Like, we don't know what's going on." But no, they stood it. Max stood in there and took some freaking shots. I know you guys were talking about arm strength. I feel like when he has a chance to step into his throw, he's fine. He doesn't have that talent where he can be flat-footed or on his back feet and make those throws. He made a couple.
He sees the game well, though.
But
he does see the game well.
He does. And I think that was his biggest thing. Like, he had to stand in there and take shots, so he couldn't step into throws. And that's where we kind of saw the noodle arm a little bit. I'm hoping. I mean, you could fix that. You can. Brady never had a really strong arm.
It's dependent on the scheme, man. Like, if you're set up for quick throws, quick checkdowns, you can deal with a little bit of pressure, But
for sure,
we're just talking about, like, not even just the fight back, but you saw, like, the fight back was big to just be able to be like, we're down 16-0 against one of the best teams in the NFL. We could pack it in. For me, it was the buy-in, and it looks like these
They're
guys
all
are buying in.
On the same page.
Whether or not we won this first game, I think we all, especially after this first quarter, would have put our mortgage on the Eagles are going to destroy us here, and for us to come back like that and fight
and should have won.
We had chances to win, to be honest with you.
What I was going to say too is about Max arm strength. Quick is, I feel like that can come as you get older.
Why do you say
no? Look at Brady, dude. Brady did not throw the ball. He had a decent arm. He had a decent arm, and by the second half of his career, he had one of the best.
Yes,
Brady's arm was always
from top 20 to top 3.
Yeah.
So
his
Max,
got better.
Bottom 25, he can get to top 15, top 10 arm.
Brady's mechanics got way better.
Brady's comparing anybody to Brady's progression you're in a dangerous spot right there.
I do agree. That. Like, Brady's mechanics for me.
His mechanics were perfect. Yeah. His mechanics were perfect at the end.
Yeah, but I mean, Brady wasn't known for his arm when he started. He was just like, his arm.
Not when he started.
He could read the game.
He always had I think there's in the Brady 6 documentary. He talks about himself. He's like, okay, I was thinking about myself as a prospect. And I'm like, yeah, you got a pretty good arm. You're pretty slow. But he knew he had a pretty good arm back then.
Yeah. Catcher in baseball,
That's true.
And then
it's hard to make that comparison.
Footwork. If you could really hone in your footwork,
he can improve upon the arm strength. Like,
if you can get your center of gravity behind you,
he's not going to be Josh Allen. No, I'm not saying that. Like, he's not going to be Josh Allen. or any of these guys, Mahomes or Herbert, but like he could easily get up to a Garoppolo speed or somebody.
Yeah, if you can step into your throws with confidence, you're automatically going to throw the ball harder.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we're all pretty pleased with especially Mac's performance and the grit that he showed out there on the field. Let's look at some of the other games that we highlighted going into this week. So we had the three categories: our must-watch, our intriguing games, and then our I'll tune in for a little bit. The must-watch, some of them were just because they were on primetime TV, but Chiefs and Lions. Lions go into Kansas City facing the Chiefs without Kelce, without Chris Jones.
Yeah.
Tight game. Mahomes is the victim of, I don't know, 8 drops. I don't know how many drops his team had.
Yeah.
Sky Moore was horrendous. Kadarius Toney was laughable.
Terrible.
But as Patriots fans, we got kind of a long memory during the Tom Brady era, and we remember lots of seasons where he was working with. He didn't have a Travis Kelce even to be missing for a week or a couple weeks.
06 comes to mind.
06, 2013. He was just dealt a shit deck of cards, and he had to make whatever salad he could with it. So it's kind of nice to see Mahomes, who was just spoiled with all these toys for so many years. I'm not taking anything away from Mahomes. I thought he played fine. He did
great.
So much with his legs. My God, he does so much with his legs.
I mean, and that's a tough way to play a whole season. I don't know what they're going to do. There's rumors out there floating that Mike Evans is on the trade block because he can't come to a contract agreement with Tampa, and that he might go to Kansas City or whatnot. But they need help over there on Kansas City's offense. It's the Mahomes show, and that's it right now.
Yeah.
I thought Sky Moore, like you said, Toney was terrible. I mean, some of those drop passes, they weren't even thrown hard, they were like, wow, man, like how is that an NFL player dropping that pass? Sky Moore, was a second-round pick last year. I thought looked really bad. They have Lazard, too. He just didn't show up.
Lazard is on the Jets.
I always get him and Valdez Scantling confused. They seem like the same player to me. He seems like a nobody. He can't do shit. I don't know what they're going to do and Kelce, the wording on Kelce, he will be. But the wording is very interesting. They're like, he didn't tear it, but he separated it from the bone. It's like, well, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
For his
I don't
ACL.
know. You mentioned Mike Evans there. I don't see how they could. I think that's out of the question.
I don't know how they do that. That seems ridiculous.
Base salary for Mike Evans is $13 million, and that's just assuming you have to pay just $13 million.
No, you have to give him a contract.
His $24 million cap hit. I don't know how they do that with $80,000 available in the cap.
Yeah,
they have an $80,000 availability.
They spend right to the cap. They're the Chiefs. They're in play. They're in Super Bowl.
Well, they could do
conversations.
They could do what the Raiders somehow just did. You see what they did going into the week? Jimmy Garoppolo. No. They were over the cap by I don't know how much. I think a few million, and now they're like 17 under or 10 under because they gave Jimmy Garoppolo some bullshit, whatever extension.
Some voided years.
Like, oh, there you go. Now we have all the cap space in the world. It's like, okay, great. Yeah. There you go, guys.
Yeah.
So they could figure it out, but yeah, they have some issues.
Yeah, Chiefs are in tough water right now. Chris Jones just re-signed for this season, so he'll be back. Kelce will be back at some point.
Oh, did he?
They'll have their horses.
Yeah.
I didn't see Chris Jones sign.
Kelce's huge. Not having Kelce there that's just his. That's Mahomes' binky.
But I mean, even with Kelce, as good as Kelce is, like they have nothing else. Like you don't really have nothing else. Like even last year, they had Juju. They had Mecole Hardman. They had Lazard. They had a couple guys.
Yeah, I don't agree with nothing else. I just think that
they look pretty dire
whatever else
there.
they have is rookies and second-year players. That's the way I look at it. Like they're just young. They have Pacheco, Rice. I guess
Rashee Rice actually looked like a bright spot.
Justin Rice, Sky Moore, or Justin Ross, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney.
I feel like Sky Moore's a bust, dude.
Okay. Yeah, so the Chiefs didn't get off to the start they were hoping for. Another game, our Super Bowl picks, universally, the Bengals.
Oh boy.
Joe Burrow has his worst day as a pro right after signing the biggest deal in NFL history. Browns defense totally stifled them. They never got anything going. T. Higgins didn't even register a catch. Again, the Bengals are got to be feeling a lot worse. At least the Chiefs are getting some of their horses back. The Bengals, my God.
Yeah, they started with all their horses. It was raining. I feel like across the NFL, it was bad weather. Patriots saw a little bit of that in the beginning of the game. Bengals, it looked like it was raining and then was pouring by the end. I didn't even think the Browns looked that good. I thought it was more of just the Bengals couldn't fucking get out of their own way. Burrow's passes weren't really on the spot. T. Higgins was getting absolutely bitched by whoever that cornerback was, like all day. Burrow would throw it up to him and Chase, and they were just getting, owned. They couldn't out jump their cornerbacks. Browns must have a decent secondary after that, but I thought
Browns got a good defense. They got Jim Schwartz in there now.
And Jim Schwartz always puts a good product on the field.
Yep.
But they'll come back from that. It just looked ugly. It was, and I thought it was more them than the Browns, personally. But
yeah, wake up call for Cincinnati right there. And then to round out our, really going into the season, the top three most favored teams to win the AFC: Chiefs, Bengals, and the Bills. Bills go into New York, and they have a real tough night against the Jets. Let's focus on the Bills here for a sec, then we'll talk about the Jets. But Josh Allen, 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, all to Jordan Whitehead, who's 5'8". He made some incredible plays. He really did. Josh Allen got his butt whipped. He was taking some incredibly hard hits. Diggs showed up, but you would have thought their defense, I don't know, could force some takeaways from Zach Wilson. They just couldn't. I don't know. It's like their defense just doesn't intimidate me, and then the offense looked out of sync.
Yeah, Ryan, you want to start with this one?
Yeah, I thought the Jets played really well, to be honest with you. I know the Buffalo, it's not where it's going to be probably towards the end of the season. You're looking at Rodgers leave that game, and then you have Zach Wilson come in very early on. You would think the Bills would just dominate the rest of that game, but the Jets defense came to play, man, and they were like that the whole game. A lot of pressure. I can't remember the last time I saw Josh Allen get sacked 5 times. And Josh Allen, he got away with it last year. I think he was tied or had the most turnover-worthy plays in the NFL. But, you're not going to get away with it against that secondary, that pass rush. Jets run game looks really good. Zach Wilson just needs to not fuck up for that team to be to not. I think they're a competitive team overall. So
losing Rodgers is a big blow.
Yeah, it's a big blow. It's a big blow, but their run game is good. Their run game looked good with Breece Hall. Granted, I know some of his offensive linemen aren't great, but you got Garrett Wilson there. You got some playmakers, and the defense is awesome. So,
yeah, I thought I'll give you the Jets defense. I think the Jets defense looked very good as projected, as advertised. But Jesus, did Buffalo look bad? Josh Allen looked like he was back in his rookie or second year where he was just airmail specialing everybody. He kept choosing, and it's funny because the interceptions weren't like, bad errant throws, that you normally think of. It was just him absolutely chucking it as far as he could into double and triple coverage, and 2 Jets players having much better position on the ball because it wasn't even close. I don't know, and it was I think a few of them were to Diggs. I didn't know what the fuck he was doing. I don't think he knew what the fuck he was doing. I don't think they know what he got sacked. He kept trying to run it. He was like trying to run it and like fake pitch it over the line all the time. Like he would get over the line of scrimmage like all the time and like pretend like he was going to pitch it. It was like the Josh Allen show, and he didn't know what was happening. He had no. I haven't seen. This was the Josh Allen that I thought this was going to be Josh Allen's career. after year 2.
Me
right?
too. Me too. Yeah.
This is what we talked about on the podcast before you, Ryan, for years. This is Josh Allen. This is just what you're going to get. And then he turned into his offensive coordinator, head coach of the Giants now. I'm drawing a blank, of course. But
Daboll.
Daboll. Thank you, Brian Daboll. It's a lot of names. There's a lot of people.
This is going to be my side gig, is just being your name spell check.
Thank you. I need that. Since Daboll left, Daboll got him going where he was on the money with throws. He wasn't, originally he would just overthrow people by 15 yards all the time. And whatever Daboll did with his mechanics or whatever it was, settled him down and made him a top 3 to 5 quarterback for the past so many years. And then he lost them last year, and you started to see some of those cracks come through. But they had so much talent that they still got pretty far, and they still did pretty good. And now it's like they lost a couple more guys, and it shows. Their offensive line isn't good, which I think, as you guys will agree, the offensive line play across the league is hot garbage.
Oh my God, it's so bad.
So bad.
Yeah, I was watching Red Zone early on.
It was like fucking terrible.
And it was like, does no one know how to block? I was fumble, pick, sack. Like, it was out of control across the league.
The league. So, Josh Allen was getting it taken to him, and he was just trying to overcompensate, it seemed like. Yeah. And so he was doing that, which is awesome as a Patriots fan, because I saw that in their defense, like you were saying, really didn't do much. It didn't look like they really kind of could force any turnovers, could make any stops. They've got some players over there. They've lost some guys too. And it was noticeable that they lost some people, and they look very beatable. I know it's week 1, but it's like I didn't see anything there that was scary. Last year, it was, Josh Allen was going to run on you if he couldn't throw to Diggs or Knox or Gabriel Davis, who didn't even, I don't know.
He had a few catches.
He had a couple catches, but it's like nothing scared you. Nothing on that team. And
it'll scare me if they put it back together. Because
I don't know if they will, man.
Those two tight ends, they're gonna be pretty good. I do worry about their offensive line. Those guys aren't that good.
Offensive line's the weakness, but they have legitimate talent everywhere.
I think the Jets the Jets offensive line also looks like trash. Their running game was performed well, but I was impressed that they pulled it out the way they did, and they brought it to overtime, and they did the punt return.
Also, for anybody that's like, oh, they missed the leg whip, and they did. They missed the trip or the leg whip, whatever you want to call that penalty. Yeah. They would have been it would have been like a 55-yard field. It would have backed them up, and they still would have been in field goal range.
Right.
And if you could just pick up a couple of yards, you're in very makeable field goal range.
Right. But dude, I think Zach Wilson, the Jets. What a storyline! Are we going to talk about this?
We're talking about it right now.
Oh my God, dude! How I can't remember.
It's never happened before.
For a player that hyped, I can't remember. Russell Wilson wasn't even close to as hyped as this. Brady going to the Bucs was extremely hyped, but Brady was also like 42, right? Was he 41, 42?
42, yeah, he's 42.
So everyone's like, well, does he still have it? He's an old guy, and there wasn't as much buzz around Brady because he went to the Bucs. It's like, he wants to go to the fucking Bucs. This is Aaron Rodgers. He's still 37.
39.
Is he 39?
He's 39.
Dude.
But he's also on Hard Knocks in New York.
It's like all the storylines. And I was actually looking forward to it, to be honest. Like, what are they going to do? Hopefully they suck, and it's fun to watch Aaron Rodgers suck on the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
But
it is.
4 plays.
It would have been. I know. It's just devastating.
4 plays done for the season. Might be done for his career, realistically.
Could be. I don't think he will be. But
it's a hard injury to come back from at 40 years old, dude.
I know. I at least wanted to see it for a little bit. I wanted to see him with those guys. I just wanted to see, even if it got taken away, you didn't get a chance to see it.
No, I know. It's like, it was such a letdown. The Jets fans.
Dude.
I don't want to laugh at Rodgers. I feel bad for Rodgers. I wanted to see, like you said, Sean, I wanted to see it. As much as I probably would have rooted against it, I wanted to see it in action, what it looked like. It didn't look good for 4 plays, but it was only 4 plays.
It's 4 plays.
Yeah. But just the Jets being the Jets, huh? It's like you have all the hype in the world. You have the great quarterback coming. Everything's going your way, and 4 plays in, your season might be over. That's
it's over.
It's over. I don't think they make the playoffs. And the funniest, fucking most ironic thing about it is now they have to suffer through another season of Zach Wilson.
Right.
It's like they didn't go get another quarterback. They were like, oh, we got Rodgers. We're good. Like, they should have got someone else because now they're here. I don't know if you got where you guys watch the game. I watched the Manning cast, which is hilarious.
Is it?
And it's awesome. I would definitely recommend watching it if you have it. And Peyton was shitting on Zach Wilson the entire time, and that alone was worth it. He's like, don't throw it, just hand it off. Just hand it off. Oh, he's going for a drop back, not going to be good. And it was like an incompletion. He's like, I don't know why they're giving the ball to Zach Wilson. Just keep handing it off. Don't throw it. The whole game. And so it's like everybody knows. The Jets fans know. And, I just have zero faith in that guy, despite all the talent around him. If his offensive line was better, I'd give him more of a chance. But because him being paired with a bad offensive line, I feel like it's just a recipe for disaster. He's going to throw so many interceptions this year.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they need to run the ball, and I think they look good.
That's the only way. That's the only way they have a chance.
Occasionally hit Garrett Wilson. That catch Garrett Wilson made in the end zone was phenomenal.
That was pretty good.
Just to tip the ball to yourself against a top corner like that and then pull it in.
Yeah.
The kid's fucking awesome, man. So I feel bad for Garrett Wilson, to be honest with you.
I do too.
Yeah, right. Tough break for him. Tough break for the Jets and their fans. Taking another one on the jaw for them.
Well, and then we'll get into it real quick though. Just from a Patriots standpoint, we were so worried about this season. So much pressure in this division. Such a powerhouse division. Miami is Miami. They'll still be pretty good. They have their own issues, but they look good week one. But the Jets are now, you don't have to worry about them. They're off the board. You probably beat them twice, likely. And the Bills looked like a wet noodle. So the whole landscape changed last night on this division.
Yeah, let's not jump too far from week one. Speaking of the Dolphins, they go out to Los Angeles and play in probably the best game of the weekend.
Yeah.
Them with the Chargers, high scoring, back and forth affair. Tua has a terrific game. Did throw an interception, but 3 touchdowns, over 400 yards. Tyreek Hill, best weapon in the NFL. Absolute stud. Took over that game. Dolphins defense didn't do a whole lot. They did enough down the stretch. They stopped Herbert going for his game-tying bid on the final possession there.
Mm-hmm.
But now we get to face the Dolphins next week, and we'll talk about that in a sec. There's a couple more games I want to touch on, but, was that the best game of the weekend, Ryan?
To be honest, I'm not really sure because it was a 4:00 game, and I was absolutely enraptured with the Pats game.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when the Pats are playing, I'm not watching the other games. I stay on the channel.
I'm the same way for most of it, anyways.
Yeah, but that's why they make the highlights.
36-34 shootout. Looked like maybe their defenses didn't play that well. But yeah, Tyreek Hill, Tua had great games. I'm looking at their PFF scores. Jesus Christ. They give Tyreek a 93 and a Tua a 92.1.
Yeah, they're outstanding.
I mean,
be a challenge.
That's clearly what you need to focus on. Don't let Tyreek Hill beat you. And I like the look of our secondary. I like the look of our defense getting pressure. And to be honest, you should be concerned about this team, but I'm not worried. I wouldn't say I'm worried.
Yeah. Okay. Outside the division, the last game that we had as a must-see, 49ers, Steelers. We had kind of talked ourselves into the Steelers being able to win this game and potentially being the favorite in this game. And the 49ers just ran them right off the field. Kenny Pickett looked terrible. 49ers offense looked unstoppable with those weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And their defense dominated. So it's just you take a step back and you go, oh yeah, the 49ers are one of the very top teams in the NFL.
Yeah, McCaffrey ran for 150 yards.
Yeah.
He just dominated. The San Fran defense just looked ridiculous. Steelers never really had a chance. It kind of, I was watching Red Zone as well and checking in on that game as much as I could, and it was just they immediately went down and they couldn't get anything going. I think they scored, what was it, the third or fourth quarter? It was pretty much a blowout. That was basically garbage points, so it wasn't a shutout. from what I remember.
Yeah, it was an absolute blowout. Steelers scored in the second quarter. That was their only score.
Niners.
TJ Watt looked ridiculous, though.
He did look very good. I think two forced fumbles two sacks and forced fumbles that he recovered.
Yeah,
I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
I saw both of them.
I saw that play. I remember that.
He's back.
My defensive player of the year pick. No big deal.
Yeah, it's a great pick. You know, not everyone's gonna go for the favorites. You know. So
how'd your guy?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think he had 2 tackles. Don't worry about it. He'll be okay.
He'll be back at some point.
Yeah, 30-7. I just don't have any faith in Kenny Pickett. I don't have any faith in their offensive scheme at this point. And the Niners are just so loaded. Pick your poison. You want to cover our tight ends? We'll use our wide receivers and our running backs. You want to play pass heavy? We'll use just our running backs.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to put Debo in the backfield now, or
split McCaffrey out wide.
Yeah. We'll hit Kittle and Ayuk and Debo, and we have the best. By the way, we have the best left tackle in the league, and it's like,
Jesus, I know, right?
It's
Ayuk,
brutal, man.
Ayuk was making a point that he might be one of the best receivers in the league with how he
coming into a contract year. Contract year does something good for you.
Dominated, and Brock Purdy. It was good to see Brock Purdy. I mean, not good, but Brock Purdy looked the part. I mean, I kind of was holding my breath on him a little bit, and he definitely looks like he's still got it, whatever that is.
Yeah, he played tremendous. Any other games you guys wanted to touch on? There were a couple disappointing ones. Vikings dropped it to the Buccaneers at home, and the Giants just didn't show up for Sunday night.
I felt like Giants this week, just in general, was like, how can we pump you up? Like the Giants, the Vikings, the Chiefs, the Bengals, the who else?
The Bills, the Bears.
I mean, lots of good teams lost. Teams that we thought were going to be good.
And it wasn't even like they just lost. They looked terrible.
Yeah. I mean, the Giants look worse than I've ever seen.
I got to say, I think Tannehill might be the worst quarterback in the league right now. That's going on a little bit, but holy
he's up there.
He threw, I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 picks. I think it was 2 picks, and they were pretty close to each other. And they were the worst, I don't even know who he was throwing to on his own team.
We were texting each other about it, yeah.
It was like, who the hell did he throw that ball to? There was nobody there, and it wasn't like a tipped pass or an errant pass. He threw it straight to the defender. And it's like, how is this guy, how is he still a starting quarterback? Also, Jordan Love, I got to say, he didn't have a good completion percentage, but he threw for 3 TDs, obviously, against Chicago's bad defense. I was fairly impressed by him. I didn't think he
looks good. He moves around well. He throws the ball.
Good.
He throws the ball from a couple different platforms. And strong arm, accurate. Yeah, he looked comfortable.
He did.
Packers just own the Bears. I mean, that is the most one-sided rivalry in the NFL right now.
Yeah. Tannehill, 16 of 34 with 3 INTs and 3 sacks.
I think I was really disappointed with Minnesota to not take that game against Tampa, who's Baker Mayfield.
You said they were going to be the worst team in the league, right? Didn't you?
I thought so, because they have no running game to speak of whatsoever. They have Rashad White in there,
White or whatever.
Was it Rashad White? I don't know.
Yeah,
Either way,
Rashad White. He didn't do anything,
and they won that game against Minnesota.
Baker played terrible in the first half. He started to put some stuff together in the second, but that the Vikings offense came out looking really good, and then they just fell apart. They just had nothing left, and it's just like it seems like every play Justin Jefferson is open. It's one of those things where let's bring back the Randy ratio, and he should get at least 2 out of every 5 throws should go his way. Just
on red zone, 9 catches for 150.
They had a couple
and that was all in the first half. It was over 100 in the first half. It's like, just keep throwing on the ball. I don't care if the completion percentage is 50%. The guy's picking up 18 yards a catch.
I know, right?
I'd say the Vikings had a couple huge plays that were brought back.
And Addison looked good too.
Addison, sure did
you see that?
Right? What was it?
I want to say the Vikings had a couple big plays that were brought back because of penalty. When I was watching
I didn't
on
see it.
Red Zone, that's the way it looked to me.
Yeah, it's a tough start to the season for them. A few disappointing teams, but at the end of the day, you just got to go. It's week 1. We got 16 more of these things to go. And some of these teams are going to bounce back, and some teams that looked pretty good are going to fade away.
Yeah.
Why don't we plow ahead to Dolphins Patriots Sunday Night Football Week 2. Pats are getting we were national broadcast last week. Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. Now we're on Sunday Night Football.
I know.
They, I think, in a couple weeks we're going to be national again with the Cowboys. So this is a huge matchup. Both of these teams played well in the first game of the season. You would rather if things were reversed and we got the Jets this week and then the Dolphins the week after versus the way that it's actually going down.
Would have been nice.
But facing the Dolphins, luckily we don't have to go to Miami in September. That's always a terrible spot for us to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So we get them in New England. They're coming off cross-country travel, so I don't know if that's going to play a role at all. But you got to think things for this game really start with don't let Tyreek wreck the game for you.
Yeah.
And Bill has a ton of experience facing Tyreek Hill from all those matchups with the Chiefs. A couple times last year with the Dolphins in his first season of Miami. Do we go back to our old thing where we put Johnny Jones on Tyreek Hill and then we just have a safety over the top? Do we just go straight back to that? Mix things up a little bit? I mean,
I think so.
You got to think Bill's got to be harping on this all week. We got to cover 10. I don't care if Jalen Waddle has 150 yards.
Well,
as long as Tyreek Hill doesn't have 2 40-yard touchdowns, we have a chance to win this game.
I completely agree. I think you throw Christian Gonzalez on Waddle. I feel like that's a decent matchup where you're favorable. You're not favorable, but you're not. It's not like Jalen Waddle is going to completely take advantage of him. At least I think not after his first performance against AJ Brown, which was okay, or pretty good actually. And just you go, put Johnny Jones on him, who looked good. And they didn't really throw at Johnny Jones at all, did they?
No, for a while I thought he wasn't on the field because they were avoiding him so much.
They just avoided him. You do that with a high safety. I don't know if it's Peppers. I don't know if it's Duggar. So I think that's what they do. And another storyline that I think Bill's going to harp on is he's never beaten Tua.
Bill has, yeah.
He's 0-4.
Tua's undefeated.
0-3 or 0-4 now against Tua, and Bill's extremely competitive. This is in division. Like you said, I think it's a lot against Miami. Going to LA now, going to LA, going back to Miami, going up to New England is a lot. It's our second home game where we looked pretty good. Weather's supposed to be pretty favorable. It's going to be like low 70s, fairly, I think, clear skies as of right now. It's a tough spot for Miami to come into and play that well. And that's what I'm hoping on. I hope we continue momentum from last week. And, like you said, don't let Tyreek Hill get 200 yards. Keep him to less than 100 or 100, and you'll probably be fine because Miami really doesn't have a running game to speak of. It's the Tua to Jalen Waddle and Tyreek show on offense. And if you can slow that down, you're probably okay. And their defense doesn't look that great to me. I mean, I know they got some players, but they let up, 200-something rushing yards last week? What was it?
You had 234 yards.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
So, I thought we said Zeke looked good. Stevenson hopefully has a bounce-back game. I would assume we're getting our guards back.
At least one,
Fingers
right?
crossed.
Yeah, we would assume.
At least one, and that'll really make a big improvement on the running game. Their pass rush didn't look that great. They got, 2 sacks? 3 sacks against the Chargers. How's their offensive line over there on the Chargers? I don't even know.
It's good. I mean, it's not good, but they have a couple blue chip prospects there, and they have a couple guys that filled in and are playing pretty well. Lindsley, you have Zion Johnson. Rashawn Slater's a really good player. So they had those 3 guys there,
and they were able to contain that pass rush for the most part. I mean, Miami's got some good guys on the defensive line. Christian Wilkins is like that 1B that like second tier defensive tackle. Jalen Phillips is an ascending player off the edge. Ogba is an old guy that's been there. Bradley Chubb has been disappointing the last couple of years, especially.
Yeah.
But
not the Eagles.
Some decent players, and they have Fangio now coaching that defense, which I thought was going to start out a little bit hotter than it did against the Chargers. We hope they don't put it together this week.
Yeah.
I am not overly concerned about the Dolphins defense. I think we can move the ball on them, and I really want to see us get the running game going. That's first and foremost. That's where I really think our bread and butter is. You can say we were bad last week. I put that mostly on the guards and the game plan and who we were playing against. The opposition's defensive line for rush defense is, how are you going to run on those guys? They're all fucking huge. Other than Christian Wilkins, no one's really scaring me on that defense. Javon Holland's a decent player. That's more second level type of stuff. But if we can get 5 yards to carry, I'm feeling pretty good about that matchup. The only thing is, other side of the ball, you really have to account for Tyreek Hill. I know that's number one on Belichick's mind right now. Just kind of making sure that he's not the person that beats us. It's going to have to be Jalen Waddle that beats us, because I don't really see another player there that puts any fear in me.
I know. You look at their weapons on offense, and behind them it's like Braxton Berrios and River Cracraft, who had
Cracraft, dude. Like
he had a good game in week 1. Raheem Mostert, Salvon Ahmed. Tight ends are Durham Smythe and Tyler Kroft. I mean, we've got their best tight end, Mike Gesicki. This is the Gesicki revenge game.
Yeah, I don't really. I'm not worried about their tight ends. Devon Achane scares me a little bit just from his speed aspect. But Craycraft, I mean, if Craycraft beats you, then
good on you.
You deserve to lose. Like if that's the reason you lose the game, I'm fine with that. But I really want to beat Minnesota here, or not Minnesota, Miami here, because we have not been that great against them historically. It'd be nice to right this thing a little bit. I think we looked really good last week, and I'm riding high off of that loss, which is a weird thing to say. But
I'm right there.
We need to get some momentum going here, and I know we have a tough schedule, but this is a game. This is almost a must-win.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also another home game. Going 0-2 at home to start your season is a tough look. That's a tough place to be in. I know, historically going 0-2 greatly decreases your chances for getting to the playoffs. It's like it drops your playoff chances to 10% or less or something like that. I don't remember the
something
exact
like that.
but it's pretty low. Obviously there's the 17th game now, so it's happened a few more times the last couple seasons, but it's still a pretty rare occurrence to go 0-2 and get there. And I feel like we're going to be dialed in. I mean, my biggest worry, who is it?
You got to give me more clues to go on.
Is Armstead starting? Or is he hurt still?
So.
Armstead starting, yeah. Isaiah Wynn starting at left guard. Connor Williams, the walking penalties.
Attack Isaiah Wynn. Fucking trash.
Barmore having a big game.
I want to see Barmore just go absolutely ballistic on that fucking guy.
I hope
Keon White's like, who is this guy? I don't. Why you guys have such a grudge against him?
Yeah, right.
Dude.
Keon White just goes out and blows him up.
I mean, I can see us really taking it to our defense giving them a lot of trouble. I think our defense is a lot better than the Chargers. I know they're a high-flying offense, but like you said, you look at their stat sheet from last week, and as they scored 36 points, and it was the Tyreek Hill show. I mean, outside of Tyreek Hill, it's like everything else was average. They were moving the ball to other guys, but he is the guy. It seems like everything goes through him. He had 15 fucking targets, double the next closest.
I don't want to discount them entirely, though, because we all kind of were feeling good about the Chargers.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it'll be a close game. It's not. I don't think we'll blow them out. I think I'm confident that we're going to take it, which is the first time I'm confident.
Let me ask you a question, Sean. Do you know, is J.C. Jackson back for them?
He's back. He played god-awful for the Chargers.
Really? Awful. Okay.
God-awful. So much so that Brandon Staley had to come out and be like, we're going to spend some extra time working with J.C. Jackson to get him to play better. Yeah.
Brandon Staley's a defensive coach, is he not?
he is supposed to be. He's never coached a good defense with the Chargers.
Was J.C. Jackson covering Tyreek the whole time?
On a bunch of them, yeah. He had a bad penalty. He did have an interception, but yeah, he was.
Who's the other
trash.
kid there? Is it Samuel Jr., Asante's kid?
Yeah, he's over there.
I love Asante, but they're both ball hawks. Both those cornerbacks, they take chances. They're not the fastest guys. You need a guy that's just fast and glue. And that's what Johnny Jones has been. Right. I don't know if he's going to be able to be that at this stage of his career.
Maybe Marcus Jones.
I mean, Marcus Jones could probably stay kind of close to, especially on the thing about Tyreek Hill is he's both fast and quick. He might be the quickest player in the league, and he's undoubtedly the fastest player in the league. Marcus Jones is damn quick. Right. So you could stay with that. And the idea is that the safety helps with the fast part of it.
Right.
So maybe Marcus will I expect them to rotate a bit, if for no other reason, to get people, make sure they got fresh legs on Tyreek. Because that guy's in incredible shape also. He's in phenomenal shape. So I expect a rotation. I don't think Christian Gonzalez is going to spend much time on him.
No.
But I think those other guys are going to rotate on him, and they're going to have, I think Jalen Mills is going to play a lot more this week because he's going to be helping in that real deep part of the field where I thought we prioritized tackling at safety in week 1 against the Eagles because we were worried about the catch and run and the quarterback runs. So we had Duggar and Peppers and Phillips in there more so than Mills. I think Mills was in 4th in the snap count. So I expect to see more Mills, but they're just going to throw whatever they can at Tyreek and just I think we'll let them run the ball. I think go with a light box. They're going to get bored with it. They always get bored with running the ball. And I think they really
do. They really do.
They always get bored with it. I don't get it.
But stick to it. No, they can't.
Yeah.
So
just do that. I think we can keep them in the 20s.
Mapu probably get a lot of time this week too.
I like Mapu looked impressive on some of those pursuit tackles. Some of those stretch plays where he had to get out in the open and make a tackle. I think that he's got a chance here. I would like to see a little bit less of Tavai, even though I think he played well. Dude, but against a team like this with a lot of speed,
when they put Tavai on the end, he gets destroyed. I hate that. They're trying to make him into that like Dante Hightower mold,
he's not
where they can kind of take you from the middle and put you on as a D end.
Yeah.
And
it's not good.
It's not good. But it seemed like they made the adjustment because they started the game there. And he was just getting destroyed every single play. Like he was 5-10 yards downfield, just getting mauled by whatever tackle he was on. And they made the adjustment. I think basically after the first quarter, he just played in the middle as a linebacker next to Bentley.
Yeah,
which was a good adjustment because he just can't fucking do that.
I much prefer the presence of strong side Bentley, weak side Mapu as a 3-4 over defense with either man or zone over the top. Duggar kind of shading in towards the box.
You guys think we're going to man them up this whole time, right? Or most?
I think they'll man them up.
I think there's no reason not to double Tyreek and then let Jalen Waddle beat you, or Craycraft or whoever the fuck is going to beat you after that. Like I would not be afraid to at least show, some kind of safety help to Tyreek Hill all game long, no matter where he is. Key on him.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Just shadow him. Johnny Jones and safety over the top. And it makes, they seem as high scoring and high powered they seemed last week. They seemed very one dimensional, as you were saying. Like they don't like,
especially when you look at the stats, right? Like
it's like they did one thing and they did it really well.
Yeah, and one of the things we had to do a lot last week was blitz. We blitzed. Christian Gonzalez had a sack. There were a number of other blitzes that they dialed up. I think this week we'll go with a lot less of that. Go a lot 4-man pressure. You put some of those guys in that had big weeks in week 1 rushing the passer. Barmore, I mean, JJ, you laid out the lineup. You put those guys in there, you're going to be getting home inside of 3 seconds. And Tua's not nearly the threat to escape the pocket, make a big play, or tuck it and run that Jalen Hurts is.
Let Judon and Uche get the pressure by themselves. There's no need to send extra guys. If you're going to have an extra guy, help him. Have him help see Waddle or Hill.
Yeah.
I'd like to see White be on the field for at least 50% of the time too. Keon White.
I think he's earned that at this point.
Right? He was on, I want to say like maybe 30% last week.
Yeah.
He's just too good to keep him off the field for that long.
Did you guys hear what they what are they calling him? They're calling Christian Gonzalez the silent assassin, number 6.
Nice.
By the way, change his number.
Oh, that's great.
You know, I'm glad I was about to buy a 19 for Gonzalez.
Number 6 is a phenomenal number too.
Yeah,
Bill Russell.
Really good.
Come on.
They're calling him the silent assassin. Adrian Phillips said he maybe said 3 words the entire game. Just fine as long as
He looked pumped up out there, and the way he tackled, I was super stoked about. Okay, let's do some.
Huh?
Yeah, let's do some predictions for this game. James, who you got?
I'm going with the Patriots. I greatly regretted not picking the Patriots last week, especially after the showing they had.
It was sticking with you, huh?
It was sticking with me. So I'm going to take the Patriots. I think it's a close game, and we separate in the second half a little bit to give us a little bit of breathing room. I think we win 28-17.
Wow.
I think the Patriots look really good, man. And I know I'm basing this off of 1 week, but I haven't been this pumped about the Pats in a few years here. Dude. So, and I think we can score points now. You know, the way this offense looks, if we get one of those guards back, we move the ball efficiently. I would like to see Ramondre get going. I'm going to say 31, and I think it's the highest score I've predicted for the Patriots in a couple of years here. Patriots 31, Dolphins 23.
Damn. Yeah. I also have the Dolphins at 23, Patriots 27. I think they're going to take the bubble wrap off of Chad Ryland, let him kick a field goal.
There we go.
Up there.
You know, the other thing kick too, from over 50, man. You know,
let him have a chance.
I know, right? Well, and the thing too, we didn't really mention about this game is, you know, we said they didn't get the running game going. Mac Jones had 54 pass attempts. Now you can go back in Tom Brady's career, and I think I always followed this stat. When Brady threw over 50 passes, he usually lost because it was a rare occurrence. They really tried to make sure that didn't happen. So if you compare what Mac did with a little bit of running game this week, I think that goes a really long way. If you can get 5-6 yards a carry on some carries, we got like 1 every fucking time we ran up the middle.
It felt like it, yeah.
Right. So that takes a lot of pressure off him. It sets up the play action. I just feel like this is a game that we're gonna get the lead. We're gonna keep it, and we're not gonna give it away, and we're gonna win a game
in the division against a good team.
Finally, against a good team where we're not sweating bullets the whole time, like praying anything happens.
Yep,
for us to win.
Exactly.
Like, whoa, we need 3 turnovers and we have a chance. No. Just we're gonna be.
I'd like to see us start better though.
Yeah,
we need to start better than we did last week.
I don't think we could start much worse, to be honest.
This is true. Okay, let's move on to some of the other games. Pretty quick here. So the must-watch category, I got Raiders, Bills, Ravens at the Bengals. 2 teams coming off really tough losses. I guess 3 teams. Browns at Steelers. That might go in the intriguing section, actually.
Raiders won.
Yeah, Raiders snuck it out in Denver last week. But saying the Bills had a tough loss, the Bengals had a tough loss, Steelers did. They're all playing teams that won in week 1. Any of those games sticking out as the number 1? I think the Raiders Bills, just because I got to see what team this Bills squad is going to be this year.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely an interesting matchup. Josh McDaniels knows the Bills well. He got Garoppolo playing pretty well for him last week. Nothing crazy, but that's a good one. One you didn't mention, I don't think you mentioned, is the Thursday night game, Minnesota at Philly.
Philly's going to blow them out.
You think so?
Yeah.
They looked shitty.
The Minnesota did? I didn't really see much of the Minnesota game. I'm surprised you're already saying that.
Oh, yeah.
Looks that bad. So
Eagles are going to blow them out.
So
I'm not saying I think the Vikings will still make the playoffs. I really do. But
really?
The Eagles are going to blow them out.
Okay. All right. We don't have to spend time on that one then.
Yeah. There's a lot of games I don't really
Chiefs Jaguars is another one.
That's an interesting
that could
one.
fall in that category
because they've had a little bit of a playoff thing going the past couple of years. I do like the Ravens Bengals game. Those games I feel like are always just so hard hitting, and they just kick the crap out of each other. And Cincinnati definitely needs a bounce back. It's at home. If Burrow lays up 2 fucking rotten eggs in a row,
got to start asking questions.
People are going to start asking questions about that $55 million a year contract he just signed. So he's got to show up a little bit. And the Ravens look good. I thought, what was it, Zay Flowers over there?
Zay Flowers, yeah, he's a good player, huh?
He looked really good. We were worried going into the season. I think we all mentioned it. Was he like 5'8", 5'9"? And
he's so dynamic. 5'9".
Generally, that's not. That's tough to throw to. And Lamar, he was the number 1 receiver. So I thought they looked pretty good. J.K. Dobbins out for the year after holding out.
Out for the year. They're going to go with some kind of combination of Justice Hill and Gus Edwards. And I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't bring back Melvin Gordon because he was on their
he's on the practice squad.
Yeah, so I would be surprised if they didn't bump him up. That would be the most ideal, I think. But losing J.K. Dobbins again, I mean, you got to imagine his career is over in Baltimore at least. 2 games jump out to me. I think Kansas City and Jacksonville is a fun one to watch. Jacksonville's 1-0. Kansas City's 0-1. Is Kelsey back for this game? I don't know.
Probably
for the Chiefs to drop to 0-2, you got to imagine there'd be some real concern there. Jacksonville barely eked that one out against Indianapolis last week. They had some good signs, though. Calvin Ridley looks fantastic. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
In the first quarter and a half, he was like about to set records if he was on pace. He was on pace, so that one's interesting to me. I don't think Kansas City's secondary is great. The other one that jumped out to me was and this is, you guys might not like this one. I like Green Bay Atlanta.
I know that was on my intriguing game.
It's a fun game to me,
Yeah.
I like Atlanta's rush attack. Ritter, I think, was
players.
15 for 18 last week. They barely even tried to pass the ball. Drake London had 1 target, 0 catches, which I'm a fucking moron for playing that guy. But Algier, they gave some goal line carries too. I was pissed because I have Bijan as well, and like when Bijan was in there, holy shit, man, that kid's legit. So
he is.
That's a nice rushing attack they have there. If Green Bay can stop that, and then Green Bay's pass attack against a really good secondary with Jesse Bates and AJ Terrell, those are fun matchups to me.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like that second one. Atlanta's just fun to watch. They are. Yeah, there's a fun team to watch.
Dynamic. There's a lot of dynamic players at tight end and receiver and running back. And decent offensive line. I like their corner play. I don't know. It's a fun one.
I'll name 2 that jump off the screen to me. One being San Fran at L.A., the Rams. I don't know if you mentioned that one, Sean.
I did not. I'm not interested.
See, I wouldn't normally be interested, but L.A. just kicked the crap out of Seattle.
Right?
30-13 or whatever it was, which I was surprised by. I wasn't expecting L.A. to have anything going for them. They have that, was it a rookie, the 5th-round rookie?
Puka Nacua from 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Talking about Kyron Williams?
Yeah,
he had Notre Dame, the running back?
Puka. He had like 9 or 10 receptions or something.
He had 13 targets. He had 40% of the target share.
Yeah. Pretty shocking, but I mean, San Fran, that division, when those guys are good, are always beating the crap out of each other. San Fran looked dominant. Is LA the real deal? Probably not, but I'm curious to see if they are. And the other one, it's just such a letdown. If Rodgers didn't get hurt, the Jets versus the Cowboys would have been such a fucking fun game. And it's like, now it's just like, oh, yeah, whatever.
No one cares.
Cowboys are feeling good.
That would have been probably the best game of the week. It
would have been.
Obviously, Patriots, Dolphins for us, but yeah, that would have been the big one. And it's just like, whatever. Who cares?
Do
I know.
you guys have any interest in Indy versus Houston? Probably not, right?
0.
No, none.
0.
What about
we didn't
New
talk
Orleans,
about
Carolina?
Richardson, dude. He's going to get killed. They're going to get
murdered.
Killed.
He got popped last week.
Do you see any of the game, Granny?
Late 4th quarter.
Yeah.
Number 5 for Jacksonville, a kid from Syracuse, Andre Cisco. laid him out. Week one of his career, and he was having a pretty good game too.
He was. They were having a decent game, but they just literally were handing the ball. They were not handing the ball off to him, just having him run up the middle. They're just like run up the A gaps, kid. It's like
they need Taylor back. That kid they have as a backup there, Deontay Johnson or whatever the fuck his name, Deontay Jackson.
Yeah,
he's trash. Yeah. He is fucking trash, dude.
They're gonna get him crushed. He's probably gonna die.
He's trash for an NFL level. I don't want to talk shit.
Yeah,
there you go. Well done. Yeah, so it's not quite the same caliber of games as week one, but there's a lot to look forward to here. Let's hope the AFC East continues to go downhill outside of the folks in New England. And Dolphins coming to town, first division game of the year.
Did you guys see that the point total this week one, was significantly lower than last year's?
No, I didn't. But I was thinking during the games when the defenses were dominating, I was like, why don't I just take the unders on every single game? And I feel like you're going to win 3/4 of them.
I think 9 unders hit week one, which is like the most ever or something.
Oh, okay. It was that close.
I text you early. I text you around halftime of the 1:00 games, and I was like, I think one team has scored more than a touchdown.
Yeah,
and it was San Francisco at that point.
Yeah, and I think we talk about this more and more every year, and I won't make it long, but the lack of training camp, half the teams in the league not playing any of their starters in training camp. I think Nick Sirianni was asked about it on the Eagles after the game, if he would do that again, and he came right out and said, absolutely not. My guys are going to play next year in preseason because it's obvious that we have a lot of work still to do.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of crazy that it's like, every year it's, high flying offense, that's going to win. And then we start this year and it's dominant defenses is the whole, slogan of the NFL right now.
And it seems like our natural inclination as Pats fans is to take the best from that game, but I wonder how much the Eagles weren't ready to play,
Yeah.
Based
definitely.
on
I think that's
a long year last year,
I think we're going to have they lost the Super Bowl. There's always a hangover. And I think we're going to have a lot of that through weeks 4 to 6 potentially, where teams are still figuring things out because they just haven't had the time to hit. I mean, you go from practice to game speed. It's like 2 different sports. It's so fast. It is so
and
much
it's
faster.
long too.
And it's
3 hours. 3 hours. Yeah, they're not allowed to practice more than 2.5 hours.
Yeah, right? It's they got to fix that. Guys just aren't ready to play, and offensive lines look more than I think I've seen in the past. Offensive lines.
Yeah, nobody. Really I can't. Maybe the Niners have a good offensive line, but it's like,
I mean, the Cowboys look fucking fantastic, but I don't know what the hell was going on with the Giants.
Absolutely pathetic.
Evan Neal,
Daniel Jones looked awful.
Evan Neal allowed like 8 or 9 pressures. That's a top 5 pick from last year.
Yeah.
I don't know what is
not
wrong
great
with that guy, but that's majorly concerning if you're a Giants fan. That would be my biggest concern for the Giants, and they're lucky they have Arizona this week.
Yeah,
they need to get things right.
Well, and the saddest part about the Giants is they were trying to score just so they didn't get the shutout, and they couldn't do it. They could not get a field goal. No matter how hard they tried. They asked Dable, they're like, what were you doing with the starters in so late? And he was like, well, we were just trying to do something positive. Couldn't do it.
That was arguably the worst, the most disappointing performance I've seen in a couple of years from a team that's supposed to be 40-0. 40-0, dude, against a divisional opponent. You have a ton of young talent.
Brutal.
Real bad.
Your quarterback to a massive fucking deal. Darren Waller came in, and you put that performance up, like,
woof. Yeah, like you said, they'll have a chance to bounce back against Arizona, one of the worst teams in the NFL, next week. A team that looked like they were actively trying to lose against the Commanders in the second half. And the Patriots themselves will get a chance to get one in the win column this week against a good Miami team. So let's hope for that. So enjoy the games, everybody. And thank you for listening. And we will be back next week.
Yep. All right, guys. See ya.
Adios.